Okay, so good day and welcome. We're on week 2 of our diaphragm work. So we're looking at both releasing and strengthening the diaphragm to give that kind of sense of power from the center, and also just generally to support us in good breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. So in terms of equipment this week, I mentioned that a muscle release ball would be really helpful. So if you've got one of these, that would be great. If you haven't, then I'll show you how to use it with a blanket, folded blanket, but this could be a cushion or a pillow. So I'll go through that as we come to it later on in the practice. So to start off with, actually I'll stay here, but if everyone else stands, we can reach the arms straight up towards the sky. So if you take that sense of fingers active and reaching up, you'll feel the whole rib cage lift. That sensation of an uplift all the way around from the front to the back ribs to the side ribs. So we're looking at this first stage, you're just trying to get in some awareness around that area where the diaphragm sits underneath and around that rib cage area, a bit like a jellyfish shape. So from here, we're going to, I'll just show from the side, we're going to take the arms back and allow the sternum as well as the front of the rib cage to lift. So the back of the rib cage will go in a little bit more into the mid-back. And if you can, you're not looking to change your breath significantly, but just so you can feel the breath, you might just need to slightly lengthen it, deepen it. And then the opposite. So we're going to bring the rib cage in and let the back of the rib cage now expand. So we might, it's not easy, we might be able to feel a little bit more going on in the back body where the lungs mainly are. So we don't need to necessarily feel just the base of the rib cage, but the whole of the back here. Okay, and then surprise, surprise, we're going to just take the arms over to one side so you can breathe into this side of the body. Side that's getting the stretch. Feel that whole side and that whole base of the rib cage there. Get a bit more awareness of that side of the body. And then swap over to the other side, taking slightly deeper breaths if you can. They don't need to be big breaths, but just slightly deeper breaths. You can feel some movement on the in-breath particularly. And then if you can cope with the arm, bring your arms out if you need to, but if you can, doing this sort of circular movement, so it's a bit like a twisting movement all the way around the outside edges of the rib cage. So just feeling that. So really kind of increasing your awareness around that. Okay, and the other way around. Small movements. And you feel like you're moving more from the base of the rib cage than moving the arms. They come with you. And let's lower the arms down. Lovely, 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 lovely. So if we take our hands, so you can either have the fingers at the front and the thumb at the back, or if you feel more comfortable with all the thumb and the fingers at the front and just the heels of the hand clasping the side of the rib cage, then do whatever makes sort of sense to you. And keep a fairly firm hold as you relax the jaw, relax the shoulders. I know it's awkward in this position for shoulders. And see if you can, again, just slightly increase the breath. So you can do this with the focus on the breath, or you can do this with a little bit more focus on the hands pressing a little bit more on the out breath and holding it in a little bit more on the in breath. So we're asking the muscle to do more because we're putting that pressure there. Diaphragm muscle to do a little bit more work, so strengthening it in that way. So we've gone from awareness to some extent to strengthening exercise. Okay, so from here, can let go and have a little shake out for arms and shoulders and loosen up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take this hand and arm and sort of head straight in front of the body as if I'm reaching with this hand, so that I've got a twisting, spiraling movement going on from here. So it's not a full twist, but we're getting that feeling of work going on around, again, the same area. And then just swap over, reaching to the opposite side. So you're kind of looking slightly off center. And there's a reach, but you're not going down. You just kind of keep the spine still lengthening. Okay, and back to center. Again, a little bit of a shake out maybe there. So going to do some similar flows, but not the same as we did last week. So if you're coming to the front of your mat, then we're going to step back. So choosing your happy side first. So I'm just stepping back and I'm on my toes, balls at the ball of the back foot. I've got the front leg bent with the knee broadly above the ankle. I'm going to raise my arm, so I'll feel that ribcage area, diaphragm area again. I'm going to go and press back a little bit more on my heel, so my heel lowers closer to the ground here. So I'm lengthening through the back of the calf. So from here, similar movement to last week, but I'm going to lengthen through that front leg as I sweep the arms back. So the palms go behind me and I open slightly through the sternum and then sit back down, taking the back heel behind me. So it could be an in-breath as you take the chest forward, front leg straightens, out breath as you sink back, front knee bends. In breath 2, extend, arms further back, and out breath to descend. In breath to push back, and open through the sternum, front body, out breath, sit down and back, heel down. So just finding your own flow for a moment. So one more. As you come forward, just stepping forward, see the balance there. Okay, so just kick, kick, kick. And we're going to go back with the same leg. So starting at the front with the feet hip distance or slightly wider. Step back, then bring the heel down. Front leg still bent. And we're going to use whichever is the back leg as you swing your arm to use really that movement, that motion to release around the area of the side chest. Hopefully do a little bit of support for release of diaphragm, but easier breathing just through rhythm and movement this time. You can look behind you as you take the hand behind you, legs are strong, back heels down. Just let the other arm just be comfortable on that front thigh. So you want reasonably quick movements unless you have to go slower to support the safety in the shoulder joint. Okay, so a couple more swings. And then use that arm to gently bring you to the front of the mat. And then we'll be doing the opposite side. So stepping back, please take it back onto your toes, forward your back foot, you're bending again. Remember on the front knee, it's bent. Try and get yourself as stable as you can. And then sweeping the arms up. If you do that, you slightly release the back heel down if you can. The belly will give you a little bit of support if it comes in for the lower back. We go from this movement to straightening the front leg and sweeping the hands behind you, palms behind, chest raised. And once you've got a few of these feeling safe, then you can go with the breath. So we sit down on the out breath and we straighten the leg and raise the front of the chest on the in breath. Back heel goes down, remember, a little bit as we sit down. One more of these. And swinging back to the front for a moment, have a shake out. And then we'll do the second movement on this second side. So once you're happy with your feet position, stepping back, this time heel down, front knee stays bent, evers the back arm, that's your swingy arm. You can look behind you as the arm swings, just to get a little bit of rhythm, in the side body lengthen through the swing. Letting gravity do a little bit of work to just loosen, release with the speed and the momentum of the movement. And then when you're ready, use the back arm to get you back to the front of the mat. Any more shake out you need, go for the shaking. Okay, so the second set of movements now. So we're going to go from warrior one, which was that position when we step back, to warrior three with the back heel down. Most of you are very familiar with that. Going to go a different version of side angle, and then we're going to go reverse warrior, just so you know. Okay, so this time lengthen up with the arms to just start to get that length. Press down through the feet to really activate through the core and the leg muscles. Okay, as the arms come down, step back. So, excuse me, I'll do that again. So, stepping back. So initially we step back onto our toes and onto the ball of the feet and take the arms up, as we did before. But then as we bring the arms down, we take the back heel down to warrior three. So this is slightly more of an internal rotation this way, and this is slightly more of an external rotation. From warrior three, we come into side angle. So last time we did this. This time, you can still do that if you prefer. This time the option is to take the hand to the knee, work it down the front of the shin towards the ankle to take the arm over. You might look underneath the armpit there. You could bring yourself back into warrior just for a moment before going over opposite direction. Again, looking at under the armpit to go into reverse. So that's where we're at. Yeah, warrior for a moment, three, side angle down, in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, as we go into side angle. So one more reverse on this side. Back to warrior three, and we'll step back by taking the back arm forward first, pivoting around so the toes point forward, the heels off the ground, and we can step forward and shake out before we do the second side. Okay, so second side. Front of the mat, happy with the feet in position, extend up for a moment just to get that length. Let the legs be strong, let that sense of pushing into the ground, belly comes into lower back. And then stepping back on your second side. So you've got you on your toes initially, back front bent knee. You bring the arms up, take your back heel down. And then you just try and get into a happy position where you've got this slight internal rotation, this slight external rotation with the bent knee, sweeping the arms up for warrior three. From here, we're going, remember, into your version of side angle, taking hand down the shin maybe, coming back up and over into reverse. Back to warrior would be your in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. Breath. Finding your own way through now. One more reverse when you get there. To warrior three. And then finding a way out of this, back arm comes to the front. So we pivot back round onto the toes and step forward. Okay, lovely. Don't get a shake out, just loosen up any tightness. So we're going to, so we've done the two flows, which were partly an attempt to kind of find our gentle way through things that we're broadly familiar with, and just getting the breath to give us a support through center. So that's part where your strength's going to come from. You're more integrated by using that kind of breath, movement, control of the body and the breath through that system. So we're going to come onto all fours. And to start with, we're going to do a little bit of releasing movement. So you can untuck your toes if you're comfortable. You can bring your knees closer together, fairly close together or close together, and do the figure of eight movements where it's like we're drawing a figure of eight with our nose or with our navel as we start to move. So usually we'll probably focus quite a bit on our bum and our pelvis. See if you can keep an eye, an awareness eye on the rib cage, sides of the rib cage, and how they are moving and changing and how that feels around that central area. Just let the breath be free and find your own way to kind of loosen all the joints, but really the focus is, as I say, trying to keep that awareness in center. From there, we're going to change position by going opposite direction, so everything will feel slightly different. Just find a smooth opening, comfortable, rhythmic movement. Okay, and then pause there. Oh, so taking the knees more into hip distance apart. You can take the toes under, take the bum back, take the hands forward and just lengthen. So like last week, we just got the head slightly hovering, if possible, from the ground. Back of the neck's long, bum goes back, and we bring the belly in so the lower back doesn't actually overarch here. So we'll feel the whole of the rib cage getting that length. And I think we did last week, we just take the hands, we can take one hand and put the other hand on top. So we get a sideways stretch, feeling like we're lengthening through the sitting bones, hip creases, if you like, whatever makes sense. And we take a couple more breaths here. Before coming back to center for a moment, pausing there for a breath. Bring the bum back, hands forward, belly in slightly to give you support. And then go over to your opposite side, hands stack, lengthen through the bum, sitting bones, hip flexors, hip creases go back. And we breathe into this stretchy side, particularly. So one more breath here. And then finding your way to the hands forward again. Just one more breath in center, bum goes back, belly comes down. Or should I say rib cage comes down, belly stays in. And then take a break from that for a moment. So for me, in this movement between that sitting back, what we've just been doing with the hips, more like a hare kind of pose, to coming forward into cobra, where we our arms bent and our chest raised, is this a muscle release ball. That's what I find really helpful in the release and support. And it goes, so it's just touching my rib cage and is partly on my belly. So that's what I prefer to use, but a lot of you have that. So what you could do is fold a blanket, or you could get a pillow or a cushion that's going to be in a similar position. I'll do it with a blanket first, so that as I'm assuming most of you are likely to be using that rather than a muscle release ball. So I'm going to have the blanket or cushion or whatever quietly close to the front of my wrists. I'm going to tuck my toes under for this one. I'm going to take my bum back. I'm going to bring my belly in. And I'm going to let my head maybe touch or just hover around the support. But the first one is just checking where it lands and if it's a happy place, really. So from here, I come forward, bending my elbows and bringing my pelvis down. And for me, that's a little bit, no, it's okay. It's good enough. So it's more on my belly and only just on my rib cage here. I'm taking my shoulders down, shoulder blades come together, tuck the toes in, sweep myself back. So finding your positioning now, and you're going to be going between these two movements. So doing that in your own time. So I'm just going to swap back to, or bring in the muscle release ball and try and find the right position for that for me. So you just have a little bit more space with the ball, and you can go down a little bit lower. So if you go back, always remember to bring the belly in. So the lower back lengthens rather than arches. Forward, bending the elbows, pelvis down. You can tuck the toes if that's comfortable. It might come both lower as well as coming forward. Tuck the toes under. Bring the belly in. Come forward. So a couple more of these. And if you can, on the last one, if you can stay a moment or two longer in this position. So I'm pulling forward almost with my hands, pulling them towards me, shoulders back. So I'm using the ball to give me a little bit of a lift. Obviously, it depends where it is. So it's only just touching the lower rib cage for me, shoulders back, active legs, a little bit of a lift, a little bit of release into the ball. Okay, tuck toes under, push yourself back. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to do a sideline position to release a little bit. So you'll have your blanket underneath the side of your, touching on the side of your rib cage. You're going to be going a little bit lower, and I'm going to have the ball, which is not completely blown up here. Yeah, it's got a little bit of give in it. Coming down, I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to just allow this to fiddle around so that it's not too harsh, but also that it's giving you a little bit of something to breathe against. That's what we're looking at, really. So what happens here is it makes you use the ball. It means you're probably going to have lots of noises in the belly, rumblings and grumblings. But just take a couple more breaths here. So it's just giving you a sense, really. We would spend more time. We could. Okay, gently coming out of that, finding to the opposite side with whatever you've got, the ball, cushion, and just coming to your side. So quite some rumbling on the right side. It's the left side usually does the release. I'm trying again to deepen the breath slightly here. One more breath. Okay. So if you wanted to lie lower down, you could remember just finding something that feels okay for your arm, and obviously you can cope with under the side body. Okay, so finding something to sit on cross-legged. Your blanket will be fine, your cushion will be fine if you've got a block and you prefer that. Just finding your block. Legs crossed. You can do that, if not, just sit in the chair. Okay, so we're going to extend as we did at the beginning. Go side to side a little bit. Still feeling the rib cage. We're going to do those circles. And we go all the way around. One way. The other way. And then we're going to lower the arms down, just wriggle the shoulders. Reach one arm in front just to get a little bit of a twist. And the opposite arm just to get a little bit of a twist. To reach. And back. And then fingertips to the ground, a little bit of softer movement. So side body, side body, side body. Just take 3 deeper breaths with your hands again on the sides of the rib cage. And shake out. Okay. So happy diaphragms, hope happy released and strengthened diaphragms, happy breathing, and have a good week. Thank you for week 2.